Well, this morning I would like to tell you first about one of my favorite words. It's a French word, garde-fou. I don't really think its English translation does it justice. Guardrail? Because beyond the practical definition, garde-fou is etymologically a fence that prevents us from falling into madness. In the past years, though, it seems like our world leaders have decided to kick away humanity's collective garde-fou, international law, multilateralism, free press, independent media, democracy, thus leaving the poorest, the most marginalized among us to pay the cost with their lives and with their rights. And this leaves us reeling from yet another of these unprecedented times that have seemed to become a new normal. Times when I would define them as the times when the balance between power and equality is being intentionally destroyed. But here's the thing about this moment. How unprecedented these times are actually a matter of power and privilege. As the director of the African Women's Development Fund, I've had the honor of working at the juncture of philanthropy and feminist movement building. And let me tell you, the conversations on each side are very different. In philanthropy, panic. What's going on? In feminist movements, oh yeah, we've been here before. We've experienced this, loss of life, loss of rights, loss of resources, loss of allyship. We've survived it, and we've built back. We'll do it again. So I have to say I was on the panic side a little bit. So I've been sitting with them to learn about what it takes to meet the moment. And today I would like to share a couple of lessons, 3, which I believe that I, but also European philanthropy, may learn from African feminists about what it takes to meet this moment. So the first lesson, think like a feminist, center justice. I think philanthropy needs to rethink its ambitions. Why are we doing what we're doing, and what for, if we really want to meet the demands of the times? That requires, I think, that we go past the symptoms and even past the root causes to really ask, what are the preconditions for success? We cannot keep building on quicksand. And that African feminists have taught me that social justice, especially gender justice, are the foundation for the change we want to see. There is no democracy, there's no economic prosperity, there's no sustainability of our planet without the full and equal participation of women, girls, and gender diverse people. And yet, only 0.4% of foundation grants are allocated to women's rights. I'm not big at math, but I know that doesn't work out. Having a justice-centered approach also requires us to acknowledge and then shake our biases a little bit. Let's be honest. In this society, the more power you have, the more numb you become in the face of inequality. And the oppression of certain groups of people is just a little too comfortable. Maybe these people's skin is a shade darker, their languages are unfamiliar, their religions seem foreign. And that comfort opened the doors for unchecked abuse, and this is where we are. So justice, I believe, is about securing all rights for all people in all places at all times. In the African Feminist Charter, we say that we embrace our feminist values with no if, no but, no however. Everybody needs their full rights at all times. My second lesson is about centering movements. When the goal is justice, then you have to center those who are best placed to make justice happen. And those are social justice movements. I borrow a definition of movements by Srilata Baltiwala, who says a movement is, I quote, a set of people with a shared experience of injustice who organize themselves to build the collective power and leadership, develop a shared agenda for change, which they pursue through collective action with continuity over time. So, experience of oppression by the people who lead the work, self-organizing, collective action, and long-term vision. So for philanthropy, centering movements means a few things. First, it's about who you fund. You fund the people who are experiencing the oppression. It's about what you fund them to do, not just initiatives or even their own organization survival, but really to develop and pursue an agenda and to build their own voices. It's about funding them to be, not just to be together, to be in luck, to be resilient, to be well. It's also about how much you fund. Fund substantially. I was actually going to say fund as much as you can, not as little as you can. And it's about how long you fund them for. If you want that continuity over time, short term just won't cut it. The third lesson I've learned is fund like a feminist. And here I've learned this lesson from feminist funds in Africa and across the global south, many of them in this room. I have been in awe of this concept of feminist funds. Feminist funds are like, a colleague from Women's Funds Asia called it like the funding arm of feminist movements, right? So what I've learned from feminist funding is first to be responsive, not reactive, develop the strategies with the people whose issue you are addressing. We are from these people, so it's easier for us. But I think the lesson here is not just to do a consultation in the strategic level, but to build with and to build from the listening. Secondly is to lead with trust. I think for philanthropy, especially in Europe, in the global north, I think there's this thing about trust and risk, which I think is all really about power. So to the risk question, which I'm sure you get it a lot, I want to ask, what is the risk of maintaining the status quo? Isn't that those times we are in now? We also should work with a holistic vision. At the African Women's Development Fund, we really do the grant making, we do the partnership and solidarity, the collective care, the knowledge, the voice, the influencing. Just one thing alone won't cut it because of how expansive the agenda itself is. And lastly, work together. This is something I've really learned from feminist funding. For feminist funds, that ecosystem that only together, either in consortia, like the Leading from the South consortia we are part of the Prospera international network of feminist funds, only together will be managed to even scratch the surface. So before I close, I wanted to say that I believe that philanthropy is only transformative if it seeks to transform itself. Now is the time for change, to transform philanthropy so that philanthropy can in turn transform the world. However, if it is time to re-strategize, it is not the time to freeze. Can I say this? Let me say this again. It is not the time to freeze. I'm sorry to say, but I think in the foundation in this room have enough money to do both. Please do both. Delays are deadly in this time. Thank you. And this is maybe the most important lesson I've learned from African feminists. It's to keep going. We can and we must think and do at the same time. And sometimes if we don't know how, then we need to know who to fund and who to partner with. And feminist funds do that. Feminist movements do that. They know what it takes, they know how to learn, and they're always happy to share the learning. So come and learn with us. Thank you.